of you in Wattsville. You're going to hear some loud rumbles. I see some lightning there, and you're also going to have that risk for some strong straight line winds even as this storm moves through. I would say 40, 45 mile per hour wind gusts there and around Wattsville and Highway 231. But there you go with another scan and even a stronger signal. When we see this is our shear marker, that's a strong indication of some damaging winds. And notice BTI went from a 2.7, it jumped up to a 4.8. So this storm has intensified, moving east at 39 miles per hour. Boiling Springs around 1122, Sulphur Springs around 1122, and the Francis area around 1123. Raglan 1112. It's 1105. We're showing 1112. So get to that safe place. If you were listening to me anywhere around Raglan, eastern St. Clair County, once getting to your storm shelter, immediately get to the center of your home. I mentioned head and neck protection. You have a pillow, a blanket, a helmet, something to offer some extra protection. Always good to have in your safe place. Be prepared for this to move through. It's going to move through quickly, moving east at 39 miles per hour. So it's approaching. We're going to have some strong, possibly some damaging wind gusts in addition to that tornado threat here momentarily. Here it comes. It's getting closer to Raglan. Let's go back in here, Matt, right there along that line. There's some strong areas of some strong winds. Not far from Wattsville, even to the south, there's a strong gust front in here. So we're looking at Highway 26. We'll go in really close to some of these roads. There's County Road 26, I should say, and again around Raglan. Here comes the circulation center, and it looks like right there crossing around County Road 26. It's not far from Raglan, but that's the rotation. That's the strongest signatures. It's right, may stay maybe just north. It's going to be close, but you need to be, regardless, in your safe place there at Raglan. But that's the signature still showing up. That's moving towards Macedonia Road. There's Divided Road. This is past Shoal Creek Road. This moving towards Highway 26 at the time. That's kind of the line there where this is moving along. But Raglan is in the path of this. Valley Road, Old Highway 26, as this tracks to the east direction, and you can see the circulation. We look for that inbound, outbound wind. And you see the inbound, outbound winds here, the circulation, very evident that continues to tighten up there, Matt, as that moves in through St. Clair County. If you have friends, family here this hour of night, it's 11:07. Call them, text them, let them know. I know for parts of the state we don't have a lot as far as severe weather happening, but a night like this, these robust storms are developing and they can produce tornadoes, and that's why we're under a tornado watch. Text, call. I always say you can be a hero on a night like this. You know, call someone, let them know. We've got NOAA Weather Radio is not working tonight, so we're all really helping to spread that word. We'll make sure everybody gets the first alert tonight. So giving you again, first alert Raglan. Here it comes, a tornado warning. Now down the road, if you're watching me in Ohatchee, if you're watching me in Macon, Boiling Springs, you go further east, all those communities, a first alert to be on your toes in case this approaches and holds together. There's a chance it could. We're seeing these tracks with these storms. They continue for quite a while. Matt, this looks like it's still, to me, that's still a strong indication right in here.
Yeah,
that we could have a tornado.
Yeah, you definitely see that velocity signature, and even on reflectivity, in the last scan, it almost looked like a little bit of a donut hole in reflectivity, which looked like a little bit of an area where you're seeing that rotation mix out, and usually that's an indication there could actually be a tornado there. So we are definitely watching this. If you're in the Raglan area, you need to take shelter immediately in your safe spot. Once again, always like to remind you, you want to go to the inner part of your home, away from windows and doors if possible, the lowest floor, a hallway, a basement, of course, is ideal, but not everyone has a basement. And of course, a bathroom. A bathroom's always a good, safe place to be in. And if you got a bicycle helmet, put that on, shoes as well. But we're watching a storm right now that's having decent rotation. This is probably the best signature we've seen in the area for a little bit, besides the storms we were tracking up at the north and east. But County Road 26 near Raglan Main Street, Charles, looks like Douglas Road in the way of that particular rotation as well. And we're looking at Divided Road, and Macedonia Road as well, Old Highway 26, Valley Road. You're all included in that tornado warning. We'll say this, along 231, it looks like that rotation is now to the east of you. So I think most of the severe threats away from where you're at, but Raglan, you really need to take shelter immediately, Wes. Seeing if there's any more updates through the weather chat. Nothing yet, but definitely looking at a pretty intense signature there on radar.
All right, Matt, and we are certainly monitoring closely. This is Macedonia Road, County Road, St. Clair County Road 26 in Raglan being impacted. Highway, I mentioned 114, I believe I mentioned 144. Highway 144 I wanted to mention earlier, right there runs into Main Street there in Raglan and points north. You all need to be in your safe place right now. There's Highway 144, there's County Road 26, Pope's Chapel Road. You're seeing those winds really backing around now towards the radar site, so we got some winds blowing in this direction back in towards from the north direction there, wrapping into that storm. Some gusty winds with this as this moves in. That's what you're seeing, really, a lot of wind with this, and that strongest tornadic signature. This is right over Raglan. Again, let's go in close, Matt. Let's get in here to Raglan. There's County Road 26. Here it comes, and we could go to shear rate. We'll just factor all this out. I want to see, and this is where the tornado is likely, right in this area. Let's go in closer. There's Old Asheville Road, 2nd Street, 3rd Street. This is in the city of Raglan. This is going to, Raglan's in the direct path of this, it looks like, the way this is coming in. Everyone in Raglan, I want you in your safe place, and we'll get through this here quickly. Hopefully, you know, once this passes, I'll let you know as soon as this moves through. Hopefully it gets through here quickly, but this is a tornado warning. You see the track. Let's stop it right there, Matt. Let's hold it right there. This is the track, and this is some accurate data from our First Alert AccuTrack system. I've seen this so many times. That is the path right there of the tornado it's showing us. So let's click on this. This is right there around County Road 26. And that takes us right across Raglan, the strongest circulation. So Boiling Springs around 1124, Sulphur Springs around 1124, Francis around 1125, and Ottery around 1126. Those times very critical right now. First alert times, it's 11:12 at night. 11:25, you see you've got just minutes to get to that safe place. And if you're watching us on television, a lot of folks watch streams, they watch apps. That information is delayed sometimes, sometimes by a couple minutes. That's why, you know, watching us here on television, you need to pass along, text, call, make sure everybody's getting the most immediate information, because you see that latest scan here, it's now crossing, looks like it's about to cross Macedonia Road right here around Raglan. But there's County Road 26. Here's a rotation. Now moving, hopefully this isn't on the ground. There's no guarantee it is on the ground at this time. We're just showing you radar data. So take comfort knowing that. Just stay put in your shelter. If you're out ahead of this, if you're out along Providence Road, you need to be getting that safe place. If you're seeking shelter, now's not the time to get in your vehicle, try to outrun this. There's a lot of wind, there's a lot of rain all over the place here around Raglan. What you need to do is just if you're in a site-built structure, get to the center of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Grab a pillow, grab a blanket, some extra head protection. If you can, just stay put. We'll let you know once this passes, and soon. Looks like this will be through Raglan, but it is crossing Raglan. I know we have some strong winds out there right now, and just stand by. This is moving through fairly quickly. It's moving along Old Highway 26. It's been moving along Highway 144, and now crossing right around Macedonia Road. So this is the rotation right here, but our model data was bringing that strongest rotation. If it holds together, you know, that'd bring this storm over in. There's Ohatchee. So Ohatchee to Boiling Springs. We'll have to watch this region. It's a very active region, you know, through here. And I know a lot of you are up watching this, and we know all too well. We've seen a lot of storms cross here from Shoal Creek Road back into this part of St. Clair County. So, you know, we got to watch these storms closely here in this part of the county. But that's what we're seeing tonight. You know, we had everything settled down, and then all of a sudden this storm started rotating. So the conditions obviously very favorable for tornadoes tonight. This is far from over for these areas to the south and east. But they have updated the warning. They have trimmed away some parts of this polygon. So Asheville, you're in fine shape. This is to the east of you. Raglan, hopefully very soon this will pass. This is now crossing over towards Reagan Chapel around 1125. You know, I'm seeing a lot of radar data that supports a tornado. Matt, are you hearing any ground truth? Do we have any reports of damage, anything coming out of St. Clair County?
Well, no, the updated information from the warning still showing it's radar indicated. Haven't heard of any reports right now, but I would imagine we'll hear something if there's something on the ground, especially in the Raglan area. That's where we're seeing that rotation. So hopefully everyone in the Raglan area is taking shelter. No word yet if they're going to extend it. As you can see, that polygon's kind of small, and if it continues to move out towards the east, it's going to be impacting more areas. So we'll see what the Weather Service is doing. They're saying they're also continuing to watch more of storms as well. I'm just reading the chat as I'm talking at the same time. But yeah, this is the main tornado warning that we're seeing for now. And we're still going to be watching other storms out there that have a possibility of having broad rotation. So we'll be watching it very closely. Wes?
All right, yeah, we're watching this closely, Matt, and this has been a very hit or miss night for our area as far as this severe weather. Seems like the north and eastern part of the state, this is where we're seeing most of the active weather. There's some broad rotation. You get down into places like Margaret and Moody, there's a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, even a little gusts of wind. You can see some of these scattered storms. You get down into Jefferson County, but nothing like what we've been seeing to the north and east. Now, these storms around Tuscaloosa, looks like another area that's flared up here with some heavy rain and some lightning. We'll have to watch this. It's really starting to come down. There's the city of Tuscaloosa now. This is not impacting areas north where we had all the damage around Lake Tuscaloosa, but some heavy rain. We need to watch this down into southern Tuscaloosa County as this continues down into Bibb and Shelby counties. We'll keep an eye to the sky as we monitor those storms. Not a lot happening around Birmingham. Birmingham, it looks like this is going to bypass us to the east, bypass us to the west. There are some showers to the north. But again, Raglan this is my big concern at the moment. And let's get in here where we had this tornado warning, a lot of lightning with this. So this is definitely an intense storm that is happening. And I just need to pass along as well if you're listening in, currently we're broadcasting iHeart out of Gadsden, WAAX, WGMZ. Out of Gadsden. Again, our stations WAAX, WGMZ out of Gadsden, WOXI out of Calhoun County, and WJXI. We are currently simulcasting on FM radio, so tune us in on the radio as well if you lose the signal for some reason as we track these storms moving through. So we're now live simulcasting on radio stations all across East Alabama as we track severe weather on this first alert weather day. But still a strong signals in here of a tornado. Is this storm relative velocity, Matt? Let's check out base velocity. Let's just go back. I just want to see. So it looks like maybe right in here. Let's go back to relative and let's zoom in on this area. Probably some of the strongest rotation. This is past Raglan now. So Raglan looks like the strongest rotation. It's now moving along 26, but it looks like that has passed. There it is right there. You can see the inflow notch. So the reflectivity is catching up to some of this velocity data, but the rotation's right in here. So it has passed. We have a lot of rain, a lot of lightning. So Raglan, the tornadic signature, looks like it tracked right where that line took it, and that's right along Highway 26. And you can see that track's going to take this towards Valley Road. So let me see here. So if we follow that trajectory, here we go with an update. So that tornado is right in this area. That is moving towards Old Highway 26, Valley Road, Ohatchee, Francis, Reagan Chapel, and Boiling Springs. I'm giving you the first alert. If we do continue, there's still some rotation in here, and that tornado looks like it kind of wrapped up as it developed, and sort of it might have kind of tracked in that direction, but it's there. The signature is still there, but this has passed around Raglan. This is moving towards Boiling Springs, moving towards Ohatchee. So Calhoun County, you're probably going to get some alerts on your First Alert weather app. If this continues, there's a chance this may carry over. It's still showing BTI of 4.8. This is still a dangerous storm at this time. But arrival times, Matt is showing you, just to let you know, if we do see that warning, the way this storm is tracking, it'll be in Ohatchee, impacting Ohatchee around 11:27. I'm just giving you the first alert. There could be another warning coming based on what I'm seeing with some of the radar data. It looks just as intense as when it moved through Raglan a few moments ago. So let's see what the Weather Service decides on this. We'll probably see another warning. But Raglan, the worst of this, you can see it has now passed. It's now crossing the Coosa River. And there's Markton to the north, Cobb City, here's Hokes Bluff, Gadsden. to the north. This is going to stay south of Gadsden. This is going to be a storm that's going to track towards Ohatchee, and we know all too well Ohatchee. Hopefully this storm weakens. We've seen quite a few storms track through this part of the country here, so we're going to watch to see if we see, another warning happens. So the Weather Service is the Weather Service. I guess they're analyzing and discussing, I guess waiting on another scan. But Matt, you can see, just looking at the reflectivity right there, a little, that's kind of the mouth of the storm as we call it, little inflow notch.
Yeah, definitely an inflow
Yep.
notch. And you know, when we're turning on the velocity and looking at radar and comparing, there could be some contamination showing up in the imagery, but still seeing broad rotation. I don't know if it's quite as well defined as it was maybe just 15 minutes ago, but definitely still seeing that rotation. Raglan, though, looks like the worst of that, though, it has moved off towards your east. If you're in the Boiling Springs area, no active warning at the moment, but that rotation, whether it's there or not, or broad, is making its way into your area. So you're going to probably get lots of rain and some strong gusty winds with this. And once again, even with winds up to 40, 50 miles per hour, Wes, we can get some trees going down. We've had a lot of rain. The ground is saturated. It doesn't take a lot of wind to cause some issues.
Yeah, listen, let's do forecast radar on this. Let's show folks where this is going. And I mean, there's some strong winds, like you mentioned, Matt. Let's click on this first, and that's the latest storm cell marker. And just to show you some updated first alert times, this is showing Sulphur Springs arrival time at 11:25, Ohatchee 11:29, Middleton around 11:30, moving east at 45 miles per hour. That number, BTI 4.8. We've been seeing storms all night around a 2. Now this is a 0 to 10 scale. That's sort of my gauge. When I see that number starting to go up, it shows me an intensifying storm. So this is definitely one of the stronger storms of the night that we have seen in our coverage area. Definitely going to see the possibility of some strong winds with this storm. So let's jump over to next 60 minutes. I want to give you that 60-minute advantage. So a new tornado warning has been issued for Calhoun County. So here it comes, Calhoun County. Now I'm going to time this out for you. Matt is moving things along. So let's stop. There's 11:52. So this is the part of the storm that was over Raglan, and 11:52, that's going to take this towards Ohatchee and Weaver. So if you're listening from Anniston to Weaver, giving you that first alert. This is along Highway 21. Here's Highway 431 around Weaver. That storm crossing from Raglan to Macon and now moving into Calhoun County. So get to your safe place in Calhoun County. This is a tornado warning. This is not far from the Anniston area, okay? This is going to be moving, looks like right there from between Anniston, Weaver, and Union, crossing 431. From that point, you go further west, it's Ohatchee in the path of this and Sulphur Springs. Here's State Highway 77. This runs down to Talladega. That's Highway 77, Ohatchee to Sulphur Springs. It's now crossed. It's crossing the river at this time. Matt is showing you future radar mode. He's showing you at 12:30, just after midnight, this storm could track all the way across Calhoun County to Weaver and move over towards White Plains. This is Highway 9. Nancy's Creek, White Plains, all in the path of this. I'm giving you the first alert, Jacksonville as well. So Matt, just kind of go through this one more time. Here's the tornado right here, moving into Calhoun County. Now watch this as Matt shows you the times of where this is going. We're going to put this in the next 60-minute mode, and we'll just kind of work through this. Right there is the storm. So here you go. There's let's stop it right there, 11:50. That's showing it crossing around Highway 431 Union to Bush around 11:53, again giving you that 60-minute advantage. Moving towards Weaver, Jacksonville around midnight. And then after midnight, just after midnight, this is going to cross over south to Piedmont and White Plains and crossing over Duggar Mountain. And the polygon actually shows this might try to turn a little bit to the right. So that's going to bring this in towards Highway 9. So these are all areas in the path. Let's go to where this is located right now. Let's get in really, really close. Ohatchee, here it comes. You can see right in here where it's wrapping up. We have strong indications of a tornado moving into Ohatchee at this time. This is crossing Highway 77. That's where the tornado is located. Raglan, the threat is over for you. This is east of you, but you need to be in that safe spot. This is on top of Reagan Chapel there along Highway 77 in Boiling Springs. It will soon cross at Ohatchee and Middleton. So if you were anywhere from Grayton, Ohatchee, and Middleton, it's just a couple of minutes away. Okay, this is approaching quickly, moving 40+ miles per hour. A tornado. We're seeing strong indications now crossing Highway 77, giving you the first alert. Grayton, Middleton, Ohatchee, a first alert for a tornadic storm. Strong radar indicators here. And we're going to watch this closely to see if we have any indications of a touchdown. But at the moment, radar is telling us some very strong circulation. There it is right there. You see, this is what we call gate-to-gate shear, inbound, outbound winds crossing around Highway 77. That is right around Reagan Chapel. That's crossing around Boiling Springs. North of where you would have the tornado, you've got the hail core. So a lot of this is sort of textbook here structurally. So in addition to the tornado, you've got the strong straight line winds, and likely around Francis and Ohatchee right now we have some very large hail and definitely some loud rumbles and some intense lightning as that storm tracks to the east. Next up, if you're along the Highway 431 corridor south of Caldwell, need you to get to the safe place right now, because this is moving to the east direction. It's moving towards Highway 431, and I don't see an indication that this is going to let up. This is one of those storms like what we're seeing across North Alabama. It's got quite a track to it here, but now it's moving into Ohatchee. And what we probably want to do, Matt, is get into street level on this and name some of these roads really, really close to where this is crossing. We'll bring in some velocity as well on this, but that warning goes until 12:15. So this will move all the way across the county. So here it is, the circulation. Matt's getting in really close, and we'll pivot the map, and some of these, all you got to do is probably turn it, and you'll see some of the names. Go try the other way. There you go. So you can see the roads, you can see the names there. Boiling Springs Road, there's Middleton. Here's where it just crossed at Highway 77 there at Reagan Chapel. So this is Boiling Spring Road where it's crossing. Ingram Wells, Middleton to the north. Let's see, there's Ohatchee. Right there, Middleton. So this is all around. We'll go in even closer. Matt's trying to bring in. Matt, can you get in some of these roadways here? We'll zoom in. What do we have right there?
Not popping up.
Yeah, just go right here and pivot the map. I see some names here for folks they can see at home, some of the roadways. But this is, St. Clair County's been canceled from the tornado warning. So St. Clair County, you have been canceled from the tornado warning at this time. So St. Clair County, some good news. You have been canceled from the tornado warning. So anywhere from Harts Ferry Road, from the baseball, softball park there at Ohatchee, point south, I was mentioning around Boiling Springs Road. This is going to move along Highway 144 again. It's just kind of holding right there along Highway 144. There's Middleton. There's Gates Road. If you hear any of these roadways I'm calling out, you could be impacted by this. The rotation is a little bit broader based on what we're seeing. Matt's showing you some areas out in the path of this. Here's Highway 431. Looks like it is going to cross not far from Alexandria. So Alexandria, Melrose, Peaceburg, and Moore's Crossroads. All of these locations giving you that first alert. You can see the path. This is where the system is going to bring the possible tornado. There's Alexandria and Melrose, brings it right across Highway 431 here south or near Alexandria. There's Brutonville. So this is the path and where this could cross. So we're giving you the first alert, Alexandria. This is out ahead of it. We're giving you some lead time here so you know that it's moving in that direction. If we follow along, here's Weaver. And I mentioned Weaver earlier, Anniston to Weaver. I want everyone in this area in your safe place. The polygon does not include Jacksonville. You can see it stops there, but it's close enough. We're going to deal with some strong winds around Jacksonville, but you can see anywhere south of Jacksonville, seek shelter in case this changes. Sometimes these tornado tracks are kind of chaotic. They'll waver, they'll move north, they'll move south, and sometimes, it's like tracking a rogue missile. That's why we stay with you wall to wall on TV. We watch these things as they evolve and as they move along. But tonight is a night we haven't seen in quite some time with the weather radio outages. We want to make sure everyone's getting the alert, and please, if you know someone in this area, you can call, you can text, let them know. That is a strong indication south of Ohatchee. That's Boiling Springs Road right here, and that's south of Ohatchee. I mentioned around Ohatchee the youth baseball park's right in this area. Highway 77's right here. Boiling Springs, Ohatchee, Boiling Springs Road. That's where the tornado's crossing. It's going to happen between Ohatchee and Morrisville. That's where the tornado's crossing. So Ohatchee looks like the strongest signal of circulation just south of you. It's moving right along this line. This is good data right here that you see on our system. When it paints this line, that is a forecast track. You need to pay close attention to that, and that's bringing that right here across Highway 431 if that holds together. So at the moment, the strongest circulation, I mentioned, is just south of Ohatchee. It looks like it's going to cross out here. It's running right along Highway 144 again. If you're anywhere from Ingram Wells Road, Ben Jones Drive, Oak Meadow Event Center, out around Collins Road, this is closing in on those areas right now. So anywhere from Ingram Wells Road, Middleton Road, as Matt was showing you, Middleton was on the map a few moments ago. Middleton Road, there's Morrisville, Ingram Wells Road's right in here as well. This is Highway 431. So, or 144, I should say. This is Highway 431 here, and this is Highway 144. So it's generally following along just south of 144 as it's moving across Calhoun County. This is towards Bryant Road and Collins Road. So the Oak Meadow Event Center, Collins Road, and the Oak Meadow Event Center is right in this area here. So it looks like Matt is staying just north of, I mentioned Bryant Road a few moments ago. There it is. So Bryant Road, a first alert for you. Gladden Lane, it's about to cross right here. But the overall trend with this, it hasn't been moving north. It's been kind of trending more in this direction. That's why, this line brings this just south of Alexandria. Look, we're in a warning. Want you in your safe spot. I'm just letting you know what we're tracking here, where this is going. We'll let you know when this passes, but there's a broad area in a tornado polygon. The tornado's not this large. I can promise you that, but this is sort of a safe space, right? We want to be extra cautious in this region. That tornado could cross anywhere within this region, and it's right in this zone. I'm just trying to lock in on where we see the tornado crossing right now, just to let you know. And Ohatchee, it has passed you. Rotation has weakened some. You notice that, Matt? It has weakened some. So that's a good sign. So it's just north of Morrisville, still under a warning. There's still some rotation. It's weakened just a little bit. So that's a positive trend. Hopefully that will continue. But now it's north of Morrisville, and it's now moving between Bush and Alexandria along Highway 431. Here's Blue Mountain. Here's Weaver. Anniston down in here. Anniston were included in the tornado warning. Based on the way this is moving, I still think we could have some strong wind gusts, but we may end up seeing this strongest rotation. It may stay just north. Just need to watch it here for the next few scans.
Wes, we can. I think you have access to it, we might want to pinpoint that Jacksonville camera to the south and west, and we might be able to at least see the lightning. Maybe we might be able to see a little bit of the structure of the storm looking from the Jacksonville camera. So just want to let you know, Jacksonville yourself, you're not in that warning. It's just to the south of you. But yeah, I'm sure you're going to be seeing lots of lightning in that area. And you can see in that camera right there that Wes is controlling. We're panning around looking at Jacksonville State. And
is that hail causing it bouncing off there? Or is that just, I guess it's just... Maybe that's just where the rain.
I think it's got to be the rain, but that's a lot of lightning there.
I see some folks. Look at everyone on the road there. Listen, if you can just stay off the roads, let these storms pass. I see a lot of folks on the road there in Jacksonville. I know some people are trying to get from point A to point B and must travel, but if you can avoid it, just let this storm pass. You're going to get a lot of rain, a lot of wind. We're looking in the direction of the tornado. I've got this camera pointed back towards Ohatchee. Back towards Alexandria and Weaver. This is at the library there, the Houston Cole Library in Jacksonville State University. The tornado warning is just south of here. It's not far away, but you see the lightning is almost continuous. And when you see that lightning start to ramp up like that, wind gusts at 31 miles per hour. But this has been a very sluggish storm system trying to get this through here tonight. Nights like this, you just end up with, 1 minute it looks like everything's going to be fine. The next minute you get a storm and all of a sudden it produces a big tornado. I've seen that so many times on nights like this with some of these late season, these kind of events. But hopefully, soon we'll be able to sound the all clear. But again, there is a tornado warning happening. And if you're listening back in the control room, if you just want to put links to in a box, we can keep that camera view up so folks can watch at home and we watch as that storm crosses. But right now, the rotation, it has lessened some. It's right around Morrisville, just north of there. It's broadened up some, but there's the track. Matt's going to click on this and just show you some updated first alert times. So listen up here. If you're in Bush, first alert time 11:41. That is along Highway 431. That's just south of Alexandria. If you are,
sorry, I'm trying to. There we go.
Yeah, so Matt's putting some, these times they update, so that's why we keep updating. We give you those updates. Alexandria around 11:41 and Leatherwood around 11:42, but still a very intense storm. That number hasn't changed. I want to see that number drop off on a scale of 0 to 10. It's about a 4.8, so that number's still holding. It's still a very intense, severe storm. This is a severe storm. When a storm produces a tornado warning, it's a severe storm. So you're going to have winds in here, damaging winds, large hail. You can see that this is a tall storm. You see that top around 39,000. So we're likely seeing all around the state, some lightning from some of these distant storms that have formed out there. We're going to stay with you. This warning is set to go past midnight. You're seeing a live look there from Jacksonville State University, and we are simulcasting right now all across Calhoun County. So those of you maybe in your safe place listening to us on WOXI, WJXI, Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt here with Meteorologist Matt Daniel, and we're back on. It's still a first alert weather day. That tornado watch was going through 1 o'clock in the morning. Matt, that may actually need to be expanded for some of these counties to the south. We'll wait and see well on into the morning hours, but it looks like around 1 o'clock we're going to see that watch. At this point it's set to expire, but with this kind of environment we may need to continue that, so we'll see what the Weather Service decides on that. But right now we're still under a tornado watch, especially for counties to the south of Calhoun County. But we're tracking at this point a tornado warning, an active warning that's in Calhoun County, a severe storm that was showing some very strong signatures of rotation as it moved across Ragland. Where is it right now? It's past Ohatchee. It's moving right along Highway 144, coming in close to Melrose and Alexandria. Looks like the center of circulation is going to pass maybe just south of Alexandria, but you can see even north to Jacksonville. Look at that camera view. We're feeling the impacts all across the county. Heavy rain, frequent lightning, gusty winds, very dangerous storm that's moving in at the moment, and certainly quite impactful. The lightning looks like it's picked up here, Matt.
Yeah,
so
310.
I think that what's going on, this is cycling through again. It may have produced a tornado. And did you check? Let's check debris signature. Let's see if we have a touchdown, if we have signs of a debris signature. We'll go back. You might even have to lapse this back maybe an hour back into St. Clair County, Matt, just to kind of get an eye on it. See if we have a debris signature with this. Well, we don't have a clear debris signature, but what you're seeing, you see all these artifacts in the radar data here to the south? That's just where the radar is kicking up dust, or the wind in general. It's just kicking up leaves, debris, dust, and that's what we're picking up on the radar. That's not rain. So that's what we're seeing there with the debris signature. But as far as just one little area where a tornado has touched down, we're not seeing that. It looks like mostly a lot of the debris, Matt, looked like it was along the gust front. There looked like a lot of leaves being picked up. So at the moment, not seeing a radar indicated touchdown. Not to say we haven't had one, but the model data is not picking, or the radar data is not picking up on a debris signature from where that tornado crossed at Highway 77. So we'll watch the radar data, continue to evaluate, but at the moment what we're seeing is just basically some strong rotation. No guarantee this is on the ground at the moment. It does look like to me that the rotation, while it weakened a bit, it may be trying to intensify, but look where it's crossing, right where this system's taking it, just south of Alexandria, right there across Highway 431. So that line, again, is going to bring this between Weaver and Hillcrest. It's right around Blue Mountain. So north of Blue Mountain and between Weaver, you'll be impacted. So let's go in here, Matt, right there between Alexandria and along Highway 431. All these, let's just follow this line. We'll go to all these roads and really close. So folks in here have that first alert. You have some time to prepare. So you can see the track adjusted some. So here's Halls Chapel Road, Pelham Range Road. That's where the tornado, if it's here, where it's located, where the strongest rotation is. We've been talking about the community of the Bush here along 431 and Leatherwood and Cherokee Trail. That is now where we're seeing the strongest rotation. Looks like it just crossed right there around Cherokee Trail. So we follow along. This is going to cross there, Sachs Road. So it's going to cross around Sachs, Cane Creek Road, Sachs, here's Hillcrest, Glade Road, there's Airport Road, here's Weaver, Pelham Heights, Linlock, McClellan, Fort McClellan Boulevard there, McClellan Boulevard. Listen, if you live anywhere along McClellan Boulevard south of 4 Mile, you're in the path of this, okay? You need to be in that tornado safe space. Also, as we continue to the east, there's Baines Gap Road. So this is from Baines Gap Road all the way to White's Gap and 4 Mile. Anywhere in between, it's going to cross here as well. So you got some minutes to get ready. So we're giving you the first alert before this gets to you. And then the track takes us. It really runs close to Baines Gap Road and Fort McClellan. Let's go. There's White Plains and Whitesides Mill. So you see from Pleasant Ridge to White Plains, and this is Highway 9. It's going to cross right in this area in the eastern part of Calhoun County. So it will be south of Piedmont, south of Rabbittown, south of Piedmont, where this is going to cross. So we just went through, those are all areas in the path of this tornado based on the way it's tracking. We're giving you some minutes, we're giving you some first alert times. We're also watching, Matt, do we have other storms? Let's look at the big picture here quickly.
I was going to mention, just to give a brief update again, we'll zoom it back out and show you the big picture. I just want to let you know that the tornado watch, they're going to be clearing that out for Blunt and Pickens, but they're also going to continue the tornado watch for everyone else, and they're going to extend it until 2 o'clock in the morning. So that watch was until 1. Looks like they're going to extend that tornado watch up until 2. But just wanted to let you know, if you're in Pickens and Blunt County, the tornado watch has now been canceled where you're at. We are tracking some stronger storms down towards Tuscaloosa, right along 20, near the coaling area, Woodstock. It's approaching West Blockton. I'm going to look at velocity. Not seeing any signature, maybe some gusty winds with that, but of course we'll have to watch these storms as they continue to push off to the east. The environment's still favorable for strong and severe storms, but of course the most active storm that we're tracking right now is in Calhoun County. This includes just clips, a little bit of Anniston. I think the main rotation, if there is a tornado, is going to be north of downtown Anniston towards the Hillcrest Weaver area, and that's what we've been tracking over the past several minutes. But still looking at a decent signature on radar. We're seeing that couplet when we say green and red meets together. That's where we're starting to see it. I will say it looks kind of broad in ways, but still a strong enough signature where we could easily still get 60-mile-per-hour winds from the storm alone. So just want to give you that first alert. Looking at the BTI number, it's a 4.8, so it's pretty elevated, and usually when that number gets near 5 or above, confidence is increasing. We're getting something, whether it's strong winds or possibly a tornado, but this storm is moving pretty quickly off towards the east, right around 30-40 miles per hour. But that's the main storm that we're watching right now at this particular hour. Let me take this off. We'll put back on reflectivity. And towards the Weaver area, starting to see those purple colors. In fact, I'm going to take this off, and we're going to take a look at the triple threat. And yeah, it's picking up a little bit of shear there, Wes. I don't know if you're seeing that.
Yeah, it's definitely intensifying again. The Weather Service was noting, watching for that re-intensification. So the way it's passing here at the moment, Matt, we need to really stress folks around McClellan Road and Highway 21 and Weaver Road. That's about where this is crossing. This is right there around Basil Gates Road and basically it's Weaver. I mean, where this is moving in right now, we're seeing that strong rotation. There's Alexandria, and let's go back to velocity. Let me just look at that one more time. There's Sachs right here. Here's Highway 431 in Weaver. Yeah, it's going to be moving in right here around Weaver to Sachs and crossing just north of Blue Mountain. But the rotation, it continues as it seems like it's broadening. It starts to intensify again. So at any moment, this could put down a tornado. So let's just stay put. Let's stay sheltered if you're around Linlock Lane, Shipley Road. All those locations there around Basil Gate Road, as I mentioned, and the lows north towards Weaver Road. I mean, the Calhoun County Sports Complex is in here. That's right in this area as well. So again, all these locations in the path of this, just stand by. We'll let you know when this passes. You can see it's right over Sachs, and Weaver, where we have the strongest rotation that I'm watching at this time, as Matt was noting. And what you're seeing in the corner of your screen, that is a live look from Jacksonville State University, and that is from the Houston Coal Library. It has not let up. I mean, it has just been steady lightning, like the strobe effect. And every time I see that, a memory always goes back Fultondale night. Not to say we're going to have that kind of tornado, but that's the kind of lightning. When you see a tornadic storm, just look at that. It's just almost continuous. And there's, in the meteorology textbooks, you know, a lot of folks have been storm tracking for a long time, and something I learned a long time ago, they'll tell you a lot of times you'll see that lightning frequency really ramp up before a storm produces a tornado. So that's something that always grabs my attention when I see that, and just keep that in mind. Anytime you see a night like this and you see that lightning really picking up like that, that's why many times, you know, Matt, you're able to actually see the tornado. But let's go in really close to, I want to go in really close to some of these roads here.
Yeah, and I was going to tell you, as we were watching that video, Wes, and as you were talking, I was looking at the total strikes. It has increased by 15 in like
Wow.
the 1 minute you were just talking. It was around 300. Now it's 314 strikes. Now at 316. So that lightning is actually increasing as we speak. So that storm's not weakening by any means.
There you go. I mean, that's a sign. 15 strikes, just as we've been sitting here talking about it. Let's get back to radar, though. Let's go in really close to where that tornado would be, and here it comes around Sachs and Weaver. Now, Alexandria, this has passed our area, okay? This is now crossing around Sachs Road. It looks like it went just a little south. I know we're talking about the Weaver area. There's Lindlock Lane I talked about, Hillcrest, there's Glade Road. And this is right over Sachs and Bryan Avenue, and it's now crossing Highway 21. It just crossed Highway 21. There we go with it. We just got a new scan. It has crossed Highway 21. It's now across McClellan Boulevard, and it's now moving towards Rocky Hollow Road. So first alert, Rocky Hollow Road. It's about to be crossing Rocky Hollow Road, that strongest rotation. And we're monitoring Highway 21. This is right around Summerall Gate Road as well. Crossing Blue Mountain Ridge and moving in the direction of Lenox Avenue and Shipley Road, Morton Road. It has crossed Lindlock Lane now, and it's moving through, Matt, an area. We have a lot of businesses, we have a lot of homes in here, and a very populated area. And for a lot of you, just stand by. You know, we'll get this through here fairly quickly. Hopefully we don't have a tornado touching down. A lot of rotation with this at the moment, though. Let's get in really close. Again, there's Highway 21. Here it is, right in here. It looks like it has crossed Highway 21, McClellan Boulevard, and I would paint it, Matt, right in here south of. There's Lindlock, just south of this Lindlock Road area. Let's go in right here really close and show some of these roadways for folks in here where it's at. There's Rocky Hollow Road. That rotation somewhere in this from Rocky Hollow Road back into Baines Gap Road. It has shifted a little bit. I mentioned at one point it looked like it was going to stay just north of Baines Gap, but you can see the track now is that tornado or the circulation has wavered some, and that's taking this now more towards Baines Gap Road and Rocky Hollow Road. So Baines Gap Road, Rocky Hollow Road, if you're anywhere watching me in those communities, get to the safe spot hopefully soon. The strongest rotation looks like it may be now starting to slide just to the south of Sachs, but you're still going to have the lightning, the loud rumbles, the threat of damaging winds. So the threat is far from over as far as the severe storm, but that tornadic threat where the tornado may be passing just to your south, if it is producing some damage here, this is going to be likely hard to see. And you're not going to see it from this camera view north of the storm. If we have some spotters to the south, you know, you might see something, but it definitely looks like it's more, there's a lot of rain in here.
Yeah, it's got to be rain wrapped.
Yeah, it's got to be rain wrapped.
Yeah, you're not going to see it for sure. You'll hear it, but you won't see it.
So this is, Matt, this looks like it's moving towards Bel Air Road, and I'm looking closely here because I want to be able to sound the all clear for some folks. I think Alexandria, this has passed again. You're in good shape. Hopefully, you know, at least the winds and the rain, the heavy rain will start to settle down around Halls Chapel Road, Sachs Road, I do think the strongest circulation has passed there.
Yeah, and if there's any good news I can give you is, we have technology to be able to see if there's been debris lofted in the air to confirm if there's a tornado. Been looking at some of that radar technology. It's called correlation coefficient. It would really allow you to see that. I haven't seen it, and it's been moving over populated spots. So obviously, if there was a tornado, that debris would be lofted and we would easily see it. So that's good news, but I still don't want to give it an all clear. It's still showing signs of cycling. These supercells that we're looking at, they cycle. Sometimes they can broaden out and weaken just a little bit, and then a few minutes later, they intensify. In fact, I feel like that's what kind of happened with this cell. We were watching weak rotation right when we ended our show, and then about 10 minutes later, it cycled back up, and it really intensified really quickly. And then, of course, here we are showing you this tornado warning in Calhoun County. So we're going to continue to watch this. No doubt it is producing nonstop lightning. You can see the lightning right behind me. It's just constant there in Jacksonville. The warning itself is south of your area, so you're not going to have any issues regarding tornadoes, but you're definitely going to get fireworks, Mother Nature's fireworks for sure, and very heavy rain. And we're seeing that rain just hitting the lens, going back and forth, and you can see the wind gusting there at 31 miles per hour. And if that temperature is correct, it's still 81 degrees, and it's almost midnight, Wes. So obviously this rain is going to help cool things off just a little bit. But once again, a tornado warning out there for Calhoun County. This is set to expire at 12:15, and we're still seeing if they're going to extend this warning even farther to the east, and if they do, we'll let you know. But if you're in the Pleasant Ridge area, Joseph Springs, you're in line of this rotation where right now you're seeing that green versus red. We always say when green versus meets red, could go under the bed. We're seeing that circulation. It's rather broad, though, would you say, Wes?
Yeah, it doesn't look quite as robust as what we were seeing around Raglan earlier. But what I want to do right now is go in again. This is moving in around Fort McClellan, right there around Highway 21, and you see there's Pleasant Ridge, Baines Gap Road, Chocolaco Road. Here's White Plains. Here's Highway 9. This is moving, it's past Rocky Hollow Road now. So this is closing in. This is moving in towards Pleasant Ridge. Here's the circulation right in here. It's still a broad circulation. This could be putting down, we can't see what's actually in contact with the ground. So, this could be producing a low-end tornado possibly at this time. This rotation doesn't look as intense and confined as what we're seeing when this started out around Raglan, but this is further away from the radar site. But as we monitor this, this storm is tracking over towards Pleasant Ridge and Joseph Springs, so you still could have, a tornado here, but it's moving quickly. And listen, this is past Highway 21, Anniston. This is past the city of Anniston. It's past Sachs now, past Blue Mountain. This is what we're concerned about. It's not this, the worst of this has now passed. It's this circulation right here that we're tracking, and now it's moving towards Pleasant Ridge, Joseph Springs. Here's Highway 9. So White Plains all the way to Joseph Springs. You need to be in your safe place. We'll let you know once this has passed, and hopefully we get this through here without a touchdown as that circulation. What you're looking at is you're just looking at precipitation, basically, that's moving towards and away from the radar. And with the Doppler radar effect, what we can determine is if those raindrops are moving towards and away from the radar, or those targets are moving towards and away from the radar. So it's something, we've been looking at Doppler radar since the late 80s, right? And what we can do is we can indicate via radar if a tornado's here. So it's not like having someone there to see an actual tornado, but we're seeing radar indications. So that's take comfort knowing we don't have confirmation at this point of a confirmed tornado. It's radar indicated. Just stay in your safe place. We will let you know once that threat has passed. And it has passed Sachs, it's past Weaver, it has passed Blue Mountain, it's past Anniston, even though it is absolutely pouring right now in the Anniston area. We got some very strong winds around Blue Mountain. But with something like this that I have seen a lot of times, and Matt, just take the view out just a little bit further. I want to show folks at home something that when you have storms like this, you've got to watch. We call this convective burst point, the southern tip of the line, where you have these storms that regenerate. Sometimes, even though we've got a radar indicated tornado, if that does continue to weaken, we might on the tail end of this, I didn't want to go this, let's go in just a little bit further here. You know, we need to watch what's happening south of Anniston with this line, because if that tries to re-intensify as this moves down into Talladega, Clay County, I just want to let you know, let's stay weather alert for these areas further south, just in case the tail end of this line sort of re-intensifies. You know what I'm talking about, Matt. You get those storms, you get one upstream that weakens, and then another storm takes over downstream. That's always a possibility we need to watch out for later this evening.
Yeah, that's right. And watching the National Weather Service, it looks like they're not going to extend that tornado warning into Cleburne, but they're going to probably issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Cleburne County. So just want to give Cleburne County that first alert for that strong storm. And once again, when a storm has a history of producing a tornado, it can always cycle back up. Notice in Georgia, tons of those yellow polygons blinking back and forth, indicating severe thunderstorm warnings there just north of Metro Atlanta. I've been watching a little bit of the chat and on Facebook with our live stream. A lot of people are asking a lot of questions, and so I do want to give you a brief overview real quick, and then we'll go right back to that storm. If you're mainly north and west of 2059, the threat's really coming to an end. It's mainly areas south of 2059 that we're going to be watching. Yes, there is a stronger storm there in northern portions of Bibb County, near the West Blockton area, moving into Pelham, Alabaster, Shelby County. I've been looking at the velocity image for this. No signs of rotation with this, but definitely some heavy rainfall. And just looking at the lightning, not as intense with lightning as what we're seeing there in Calhoun County, where we're seeing hundreds of lightning strikes in just 15 minutes. Looking at about 60 lightning strikes within this particular storm impacting West Blockton, moving into the southern portions of Shelby County. So we'll zoom on out. We still have some showers there and around Trussville, around perhaps in around Pell City, but the worst of the weather looks to be off to your east, and we're still watching that Warren storm there in Calhoun County, where we're seeing now a new severe thunderstorm warning out there in effect for parts of Cleburne County. Do you want to quickly show you this tornado watch, who's in it and who's not? It looks like they've cleared the tornado watch if you're in Marion, Winston, Coleman, Blunt, Walker, Fayette, Lamar, and Pickens. You are clear. You can go to bed and not have to worry about severe weather. They're still holding on to that watch, though, for Tuscaloosa and into Jefferson counties and into Blunt and Etowah. Hopefully, we'll be seeing those counties next, but until then, we still have this watch, and it's been extended, by the way, up until 2 o'clock this morning. Wes?
Okay, Matt, and this is a live look at... Check, check. Okay. All right. Hey, Matt, this is a live look from McCully Hill right now. This is in Bibb County, and this is a live look from one of our First Alert new Sky Vision cameras, and you can see the rain is coming down. That storm that Matt was talking about, we're also tracking that's moving through Tuscaloosa County down into Bibb County. That is a storm that could go severe, so we need to watch that if you're in Centerville, if you're in Bibb County, but a live look from McCully Hill here, one of the Alabama Lightwave, new Alabama Lightwave cameras from our First Alert Sky Vision network. Let's get back over to radar, Matt. We'll check that storm out as well, but we do have a tornado warning. Let's go to the latest First Alert time on this. I want to make sure that we give you those latest times, and you can see around 12:02, Chocolaco, Joseph Springs around 12:03, Iron City 12:04. There's White Plains around 12:04, Whitesides Mill around 12:08, Cleburne around 12:08 in the morning. Moving east at 38 miles per hour. Something to note, when you look at this BTI, it went from a 4.8, it dropped off. It's down to a 2.6. That storm has weakened on a scale of 0 to 10, so it has weakened some. That is a good sign when we look at this, but that's now about to cross Highway 9, moving out into the eastern part of Calhoun County, DeArmonville. You're going to have some strong wind gusts, some intense lightning, and now we're most concerned about the wind and the hail aspect of this storm. It's evolving more into that risk as this moves into Clay County. We'll monitor this. There's still an active tornado warning. There's still some broad rotation in here. The Weather Service was noting as well. You know, we see this, it looks impressive, then it weakens. It really looked most impressive again when it moved across St. Clair County, approached Raglan, Ohatchee. Hopefully, folks, we're okay there. Hopefully, no damage. We'll follow up to see if we have any ground truth. Matt's checking some of the channels there as well. If we have any ground truth, we'll pass that along. But so far, we're not seeing a lot of confirmation coming in of damage associated with this as the storm has moved along. But again, it's late at night. Keep in mind, weather radios are still out for tonight, so we want to stay with you as we track these storms, give you that first alert every time these warnings are issued. The Weather Service, as you can see, they're very well capable of issuing the warnings. They're still sending those out tonight. So you're going to get that information. The warnings are still coming out tonight. But Matt? Yeah,
I was just looking at the latest. As you said, that BTI number has shrunk, so that's good news. The rotation on velocity looks like it's broadened out. And I'm also taking a close look at the lightning as well. Earlier, when it was increasing, it was right around 350 almost lightning strikes. It's decreased to about 240 to 250 lightning strikes. So all good news. And that orange little line that you saw earlier, that usually is a good way of us knowing if there's a intense wind, that just dropped off the map. So that's also
that's a good sign.
So we like all these improvements. And plus that warning got extended into Cleburne, but it's not a tornado warning. It's a severe thunderstorm warning, but still a powerful storm.
And it's still, and you know, this just shows how accurate that data is, Matt. That line, it went right across where that track, where this system took that storm.
Good.
I mean, this is some good data right here. I've always been so impressed by this system. This is the AccuTrack system. You remember the Viper that we had. This is the next generation Viper, the Lynx system. It's some incredible technology, and you can see just how accurate this stuff is. I mean, when you see that line, you follow that track. That's where this thing's going. I've tracked a lot of severe weather with this system right here. But this is moving now through Joseph Springs, Iron City. It's moving over towards Heflin into Cleburne County. And as Matt noted, you can clearly tell that is more, we don't see that tight green to red, that one little confined area. It's very broad in here. But I know we show you this a lot. But Matt, this is velocity data, and Matt's putting some of those first alert times on here. You can see around Heflin at 12:08, Edwardsville around 12:15, and again, it's a severe storm now. It has weakened quite a bit. It's moving east at around 36 miles per hour.
And Wes, I want to give you an update from the chat. Getting a report of a tree down blocking a lane of traffic near the Raglan area, and now the Weather Service is saying they're getting a lot of reports of damage coming in from Calhoun County from this particular storm. And so those that live in Cleburne need to have a heads up, because once again, these storms can cycle again and create more damage. So right now it looks like this particular storm has created a lot of reports of damage in parts of Calhoun County. Nothing specific, but just getting that report in as we speak. So this is a pretty dangerous storm as it's moving off towards the east pretty quickly, around 35, 40 miles per hour. It's going to be moving out of Calhoun County very soon and moving into Cleburne County. So right now, we'll take this out. Anniston, right now, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about the worst of the storm. Weaver, you're all clear at this point. But we're still seeing that broad rotation near Joseph Springs, moving east into the Heflin area. So if you're in Heflin, definitely want to take the severe thunderstorm warning seriously. If I were you and you're watching, go ahead and go to your safe spot. You'll be there for maybe another 20, 25 minutes, and then the storm will pass, and then things hopefully will be okay. But yeah, this is the most immediate concern, with reports now of some damage in parts of Calhoun County. Wes?
All right, so newsroom listening up as well. We're getting reports there, Calhoun County. Let's follow up with some of that and see. Unfortunately, I just mentioned, you know, we haven't heard of any reports, and then Matt just gave us some information that we didn't want to hear, that we do have some damage, some trees down, some damage reports coming in across Calhoun County. There's going to be a lot of downed trees from these strong winds with these storms. Matt, let's go over, it looks like has it intensified again? We got another scan. Let's go back. It looks like there's some strong winds in here. Yeah, it looks like now that it's crossing. Yeah, there's still some indications. Go back to base. Yeah, right in here, there's still some circulation around Iron City. Chocolaco, that's crossing right around Highway 9. So yeah, it's still, there could be something here crossing around Iron City. Now this is south of White Plains, but it's crossing around into Cleburne County. Now this is about to move into Cleburne County. Folks around Heflin, I know we're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but just giving you that first alert. This is now coming, it's moving your way. It's about to cross over into Cleburne County. Let's watch for a tornado warning, possibly an upgrade on this. There's still some strong winds. You need to be in a site-built structure, a safe structure as this passes. But that is crossing right around Dry Hollow Road in Iron City. That's where we're seeing the rotation. But here it comes now, moving out of Calhoun County, Chocolaco area that's past Chocolaco Road. It's now moving into Cleburne County. It's now crossing quickly at about 30 or 45 miles per hour. This storm as it tracks to the east. Anniston, this is east of you. Oxford, this is east of you at this time. You're dealing with basically at this point gusty winds, a lot of hail, and the risk for severe thunderstorm wind gust at this time with these storms at the moment. But the main tornadic concerns pushing out of Calhoun County and now moving into Cleburne County right around Heflin, the way this is tracking. But that is now crossing around Highway 9. Total lightning strikes around 149, still producing quite a bit of lightning out there for this evening. A lot of you ask about positive versus negative lightning strikes. You see this here on the counter. Positive strikes are ones that emanate from the upper part of the storm. Negative strikes, the lower part of the storm. But a lot of times you see these lightning bolts that are away from the storm. So sometimes on a summer day we call those bolts from the blue. A lot of the strikes that you hear about when trees are hit, when homes are struck, it's typically a positive lightning strike many times from some of those positive strikes that happen. So there is a difference based on the part of the storm, but it's incredible technology that we can actually determine, and we have ways now wherever you are. If you have the First Alert weather app, you get those lightning alerts that, hey, lightning's within 15 miles of your location. Especially coming up on summer and coming up on Memorial Day weekend, there will be a few storms in the forecast coming back for the weekend, so we'll need to watch out for that. I'm just noticing, Matt, and listen, we're going to get right back here to Calhoun County, but let's go to East Alabama. This is in Bibb County right now, and it has been absolutely pouring steadily. We got some heavy rain. There's some more storms and some loud rumbles right around West Blockton. Looks like we got to watch this. Some storms that are starting to fill in right around Alabaster and Pelham and Shelby County. We could end up with some localized flooding in here, but you may be hearing some rumbles around Alabaster, Helena, and Pelham. This is a non-severe storm at this time. But it is tracking to the south, but we need to watch the tail end of that, Matt. Let's see what rotation. I mean, there's only 27 lightning strikes with this, but this is something we just got to watch as this moves further south. As the night goes on, those wind parameters back off, but this is a storm. We need to watch. Chilton County, Bibb County points to the south. We need to watch as this moves. We're still under tornado watch just in case something tries to rotate. This is what happened earlier. Remember, we looked at, St. Clair County. We didn't see a lot, and then a few scans later, we've got a tornado. So let's watch Shelby County, Chilton County, Bibb County over the next hour or two. Let's keep a close eye on what's happening as those storms push further to the south. But you can see there's some power outages right along the path of these storms. I know when you look at this line, it hasn't looked quite as widespread as some of the weather we had over the weekend, obviously, but where these storms have popped up, the big story tonight has been the threat of tornadoes, and that's what we're seeing a lot of, that rotation with all of these isolated storms that have happened. But we saw a way more significant severe event today over far north Alabama, Tennessee Valley, Tennessee River area. Definitely a much larger tornado event was on our doorsteps today, and we saw that over far north Alabama. But tonight, this is probably one of the longer track storms, Matt. I'm sure you'll agree that we've had. We had Cherokee County, but this warning has tracked across a couple of counties. We've been on this one for a while. Now, it's about to move into Cleburne County, which is in the Atlanta market, but we're going to stay with you here for a while. I know a lot of you watch us in Heflin, and a lot of you may be tuned in on the stream here late at night. They're going to expire. Calhoun County, the warning has been canceled. The Weather Service is going to let that drop. So the strongest circulation has moved over into Cleburne County. Even though we're under a severe thunderstorm warning, there's still that broad circulation that's there, so just watch in case that is upgraded again. But that same storm, you can see the path takes us right across I-20, just past Heflin. So it'll cross, looks like I-20 just past Heflin. Matt, let's go ahead and put the times on there again. We got some updated first alert times. There's still quite a bit of lightning, but you can see Bell Mills, 12:22 in the morning. Plainview around 12:29 in the morning, Hopewell around 12:30 a.m. But definitely a much weaker storm from what we saw in Raglan. That number was closer to a 5 on a scale of 0 to 10. It's dropped off to around a 2.5. So we see that number when it gets up around 4, 5, 6. that's when we start really being concerned about a tornado. That is the Barron Threat Index. That's a number that I pay close attention to with these storms. But even the top on this, Matt, you notice it went from 39,000 feet. It's down to about 27,000 feet. So it has less than, it's amazing, you know, some of these storms, when you scan these echo tops in the storms, you'll see it changes of thousands of feet in a matter of minutes. It's unbelievable how fast these storms can evolve. But that's why they go up so fast, and especially in the summer, they'll pop up so quickly in the afternoon. You got sunshine, a beautiful day, it's July, and then by the afternoon, you got storms like this, you know, 39,000 plus foot tops that just blow up in the afternoon with all the heat and the humidity. But the storm has lessened. It's not as tall. It's not as intense. So that's a good sign. So hopefully it continues that way. But this is over Heflin now. The strongest winds, heaviest rain, most likely area where we got some large hail. This is in Cleburne County. We got some heavy rain though pushing through Oxford. You can see back in towards Bynum. And Raglan, there's another storm that's popped up, but this is non-severe. But there might be some heavy rain, maybe some small hail with this. It's cross Highway 411, and it's moving towards Raglan. But it has crossed Highway 411 there, and it's now moving towards 231. This one looks to move closer to Whitesville as far as a heavier rain. But Asheville, this is south of you. For some of us to the north, the way some of these storms have developed, they've kind of developed around some locations. So some of us are actually missing out on getting much rain at all tonight. Birmingham's one of those areas. We saw storms north of town around Locust Fork and Pinson and Center Point, and now we're seeing storms down into Shelby County. So even though we still see the warning flashing on Calhoun County, that warning has been canceled allowed to expire by the National Weather Service. So they're clearing very soon Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, and Etowah County from the tornado watch. So first alert, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, and Etowah counties, you're about to be cleared from the tornado watch. Get you some rest. Threat ending. Right now, the main concern that we have is going to be south of Birmingham, and not seeing a lot here. Looks like with these storms that have just moved through into Cleburne County, that's kind of worked over the atmosphere. We got this one little pocket of storms that we need to watch that's down around Montevallo and northern Bibb County. There's some lightning, there's some heavy rain, just in case this lone storm or complex out here decides it wants to suddenly start to rotate. Need to keep an eye on this. But this is moving towards Chelsea, Childersburg, Wilsonville, Columbiana. We'll keep an eye on this. This is moving towards the southeast direction, but there's really not much lightning, only 32 lightning strikes with this. It's mostly just a lot of rain. But notice how this is really slowing down, and this is often an indicator. Typically, when you have a line of storms like what we saw over the weekend that races across the state, you usually end up with some more intense storms. Obviously, a lot of support with this system has lifted out of here, and that's one of the reasons why you're not seeing this just blasting through the state right now. But this is around Alabaster, Calera, some heavy rain. That's about it. Some loud rumbles, but we'll keep an eye on this until this passes. Hopefully soon we'll be able to cancel that tornado watch for these areas. But it looks like it. There you go. Matt's updating the watch map and taking away Gadsden, Blount County, Jefferson, Tuscaloosa out of the watch. Now some counties were never included, like Chilton, Coosa, Tallapoosa counties. I still think we need to watch some of these storms here as they move south. There's that one warning that's been dropped, so that will clear for southern Calhoun County, but we're still watching those storms there to see what happens, and at the moment they're behaving. But they're going to continue with that thunderstorm warning for Cleburne County. So we're just monitoring here to make sure, see if we have some reports.
Yeah, it just sounds like a lot of trees and power lines down in parts of Calhoun County. So nothing specific. Obviously, when you have a tornado-warned storm, it's also a severe thunderstorm as well. So even if there isn't a rotation, even if there isn't a tornado, still could easily produce 60-mile-per-hour winds. And of course, the lightning has just been so intense. You can still see it in the corner of the screen right there in Jacksonville State, just flickering back and forth with lots of lightning, about 200 to 300 lightning strikes in about 50 15 minutes or so. You can see that here in your camera. Of course, the storm is passing off to the south and east now of Jacksonville, so that's what we're seeing now is the thunderstorm, 20, 30 miles away. But we're still seeing some windy conditions there, winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour. But no doubt, if you're in Alabaster, West Blockton, Calera, we want to give you that first alert. You're going to get some heavy rain, but nothing severe at the moment. And we're going to watch this leading edge. Sometimes you can get a little bit of rotation developing on the southern edge since this is the lone storms that are off to our south. But the good news, Tuscaloosa, you're all clear. Jefferson County, Birmingham area, you're all clear. So you can go to bed and rest easy. So that's some good news there. But we're still going to have to watch parts of Talladega, Shelby County, Chilton, Coosa, Bibb as well for the potential for maybe an isolated strong or severe storm. But at the moment, nothing imminent. The worst of the storm is now moved out of Calhoun County. That red polygon should be going away very soon. I think they're just going to let it expire in the next minute. It's supposed to expire at 12:15, so we'll see this go away within the next minute or so. But the worst of that storm is now moving into Heflin and Cleburne County, and eventually the cell will make its way into West Georgia, probably by, I would say, by 12:45 or so. But would not recommend being on I-20 at all. If you're driving eastbound towards Metro Atlanta to Georgia, that's some nasty weather right there with some intense lightning and heavy rain. And this thing still shows rotation. If you click on that signature, you can see where that green and red is located at, mainly just south and east of the Heflin area towards Bells Mills, right along Interstate 20. So if there is any rotation or any signature, that's where we would be seeing some of that strong wind. And just looking at the rotation detector, nothing imminent, sort of broad with the winds. So once again, this is really just a severe thunderstorm warning at the moment, perhaps producing some quarter-sized hail as this is pushing off towards the east. But definitely some good news for central Alabama. I know a lot of you have been watching. We've been monitoring your chat on Facebook. What about this? What about this? So, if you are in Jasper, if you are in Fayette, you are all clear. Tuscaloosa, Jefferson counties now all clear. Pickens is good, and even Blount County, Etowah is looking pretty good as well. So it's mainly areas south and east of Interstate 2059 that still has that low chance to see an isolated tornado or severe thunderstorm between now and about 2 a.m. But the threat right now is becoming more isolated in nature than widespread or scattered. And of course, the models over the past 24 hours were all showing a line moving through. One thing that I can think of is that maybe the wind energy was maybe farther to the north and just didn't quite meet up, and we weren't able to see a line kind of form. But either way, I'm glad they were wrong, because if they were right, we'd have had more of a widespread impact across the area with the line of storms, which would have been the primary threat of damaging winds. But really, in this situation, it's just been these individual cells, these supercells, producing lots of wind and perhaps a tornado. But it looks like the biggest threat or the biggest issues that we've noticed so far, parts of St. Clair going into Calhoun County, that one storm that we've been tracking over the past hour, that has produced a lot of damage. And we were showing you those power outages across the area, and I'll show you that power outages with the counties. And notice Calhoun County, that color has now gone up to green. So let's see how many, so we're talking about 7,000 customers now without power. I think earlier it was around 3,000, 4,000. So that number continues to climb. So this storm has really caused a lot of mess across the area, and I'm sure it's going to take a while for cleanup and, of course, for the power team to restore electricity, especially if there's poles down or power lines down and trees down. So that's the reports that we're getting right now, Wes.
Yeah, and Matt, I want to show you, this is from Michael Johnson. This is in the Anniston area. This is Golden Springs area. This is off of Greenbrier Road. And just to show you what rolled through there a few moments ago with these winds caught on the camera, you can see it just really picked up. And watch the last few frames here. You can see those strong winds moving in. So it was quite potent, the straight line winds in general, as that storm moved through. And I'm getting so many photos. So many of you have sent me pictures and photos. I'm trying to work through all of those, but we're also juggling tracking storms here too. But I promise we'll go through. We'll share some of those. We'll get some of those pictures. But all your reports have been quite helpful. Look at this view from Jacksonville State University. I mean, this lightning You can see in the distance there, certainly the rain's backed off, but that storm, it is still producing quite a bit of lightning. That's now over the mountain, moving back in towards Cleburne County. Quite a lightning show out there tonight, but still have power, Matt. That's one thing I've been watching. So we still have some power here at Jacksonville State University, but I know for some of us out there, we're without power. Again, that is in Calhoun County. Matt is zoomed in right now on these storms that are in Shelby County, just watching to see if we may be seeing something that will happen like what we saw earlier with that storm that moved into Calhoun County, but at the moment these are staying below severe levels. Let's go back to that storm real quickly, Matt, and then I'll come back over to you. I want to see what's happening with this around Heflin and severe thunderstorm warning. So we could see from that view from Jacksonville, this storm, it still's got some rotation with it. I mean, this is right along I-20 over into Cleburne County. That's around Bell Mills, crossing Highway 46 now. I mean, this is moving into Georgia now with this storm, but there's still some broad rotation. Weather Service is going to have to follow this as this moves on out of our area, moves into the state of Georgia. Folks over there tonight, if you know anyone between Heflin and Atlanta, they need to be alert on this storm as it moves into Georgia, because that could certainly be impactful here through the early morning hours. But we're going now just past, it's 12:18 right now, and no active warnings in our area, but you see this line, it's a broken line, and I say this a lot when it comes to tornado threats versus damaging straight line winds. It's a night like this where you do have a tornado threat and you know the kind of damage tornadoes can do. But sometimes when you have events like what Matt was here tracking Sunday morning or Saturday morning, JP Sunday morning, when those straight line winds come through, they can often do a lot more damage, more widespread damage. And that's what we saw a lot of with the past couple of systems. So we've had two big wind events, and this has evolved more into a tornadic threat in general. That's what we've been seeing mostly. There are some strong winds out there, Matt, but I think the wind profiles have sort of kept this more broken up rather than. A lot of times you get these clusters of storms. That's why a lot of models were timing this to be out of here by midnight. But yeah, I mean, it's still going to time out around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the time that we were saying. But right. It looked today like it might get in and out of here fairly quickly.
Well, if it was a line and swept through, it probably would have been out of here by now, yeah. Right? But we never saw that. We'll just note in Shelby County, we're getting some heavy rain, some gusty winds. National Weather Service reporting about 35, but they have an advisory in place for winds up to 50. And so when you get winds up to 30, maybe even 40 miles per hour with all the rain we've seen that's very saturated, may not take a lot of wind to knock a tree or two down. So wouldn't it surprise me if that happens in parts of southern Shelby County. The storm's going to stay south of Alabaster and Pelham. We're talking about Montevallo getting hit with some heavy rain and some gusty winds. Calera will be in the way of this wind and rain as well. And even in Columbiana, a first alert for you for some heavy rainfall. Right now, within the storm itself, not as much lightning as the storm we were tracking in Cleburne County, or roughly about 60 to 65 lightning strikes. But it's definitely going to be lighting up the sky. You're going to hear the thunder and the heavy rainfall, so it's probably going to be waking you up if you're trying to fall asleep at this particular hour. So we're not going to say it's an all clear yet for Shelby County. I do believe once these storms push out of Shelby, we'll likely have an all clear for you, but we're going to have to watch these storms. They're going to be making its way into southern Talladega County. So if you're in Sylacauga, first alert for you for some heavy rainfall, and we'll see what happens further down the road for Chilton and Coosa. Of course, right now it's been pretty quiet in your area. But yeah, Wes, overall looks like it's calming down as we speak. The worst of the weather is now moving out of Cleburne County, or will be moving out of Cleburne County, and then moving into parts of West Alabama or West Georgia over the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, Rodney Frazier sends us a lot of content there from Anniston, and one of my Facebook friends, he says, I live on Halls, Rodney's around that Halls Chapel Road area, and said it was scary. He said some strong winds moved through, but said thankfully the power's out, but they're okay. So some strong winds that moved through Anniston a few moments ago. We still have some heavy rain right now. There's some heavy rain. I know there's probably a lot of first responders where we've got trees down trying to help clear some roadways out here in the Anniston area. And just to let you know, there's one more pocket of rain. Do we have lightning with this, Matt? be alert. There still could be some cloud-to-ground lightning moving in. There's another storm that's right around. It's past Raglan. It's crossing the Coosa around Coal City, Sulphur Springs, Boiling Springs. It's not severe, but need to be alert for that threat of lightning. That's now crossing. It's going to cross Calhoun County right there south of Alexandria. Multiple trees down, roads blocked by downed trees on Halls. A lot of downed trees, according to Rodney here's telling me, on Halls Chapel Road.
Okay, yeah. And, you know, in this area that we were just looking at, there's not much in the way of lightning, so this is just a good soaking rainfall north of where that storm was, in parts of Calhoun County moving out of into Cleburne County. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the big story over the next 12 to 24 hours, is seeing what kind of damage we're going to see in parts of perhaps St. Clair into Calhoun County, where that one supercell moved from west to east. Lots of power outages. Those numbers continue to climb, and so that's what we're going to be focusing on, I would believe, in the next 12 to 24 hours, see what kind of damage we have in parts of that area. But that seems to be the strongest cell right along Interstate 20, about to make its way into West Georgia as we speak, and of course, just watching that rain there in Shelby County, Wes.
Well, I was going to tell you, Matt, the Weather Service, they're saying there's possibility some winds up to 50 miles per hour with that storm that's in Shelby County. So we're probably going to see some downed trees with this right here.
Yep.
Need to watch that. That's moving to the south. It's going to be moving into Chilton County. We're not under a tornado watch here for Chilton County and Coosa County, but still need to watch this for signs that it might rotate. Definitely could see the possibility of some damaging straight line winds. Matt, I got another report here from a tree on a house in Piedmont. So that's in northern Calhoun County. Of course, that was out of the tornado warning, but all across Calhoun County from Piedmont area south, we got some trees down, a lot of areas. So all across the state, Matt, when you look overall from last week to this week, we've had areas hard hit from Trussville to Tuscaloosa to Anniston, points north. In the Anniston area, that's where we have the most outages right now, as Matt's showing you. 7,500 customers without power tonight. Not as many customers. You can clearly see where we've had most of the stormy weather. What's Huntsville look like?
Yeah, let me...
I know that number earlier. Oh, yeah, it's still 10,000 customers, 12,000 customers without power there in the Huntsville area. So that's where we had the tornado emergency earlier tonight. But a lot of you sending me reports here on Facebook. Is Talladega, is it okay? Are we all clear in Talladega? Right now, looks like we might be in the little break here at Talladega. It looks like we might see the worst of it pass to the north, and then another strong storm to the south. It's been a broken line that's moved through, but the way this looks further east, you get over towards Douglasville, Georgia, there's some strong winds in that. A very, very raggedy looking line there with the curvature, and likely some strong winds in there as well. Still getting some, even Cherokee County, some trailing pockets of rain, some rumbles, nothing severe, nothing I'm concerned about. Main thing we need to watch out for is to the south. You can see in the Shelby County. You just need to watch this in case it suddenly decides to start rotating. Some of the heaviest rain, Matt, zooming in right now over the University of Montevallo. There's Jemison in Chilton County, so we got a good view there from that Alabama Light Wave, that Sky Vision camera in Jemison in Chilton County, looking to the north, one of our new cameras, and looking in that direction. We also have a camera at Montevallo, Matt, that we could check in on there at the university. I bet it is just absolutely pouring. Probably have some large hail right now with that storm, some intense lightning. So there's Jemison, and now what we're going to do, we got a couple of views there. First Alert Sky Vision. So here's the University of Montevallo. So this is the view over Montevallo at the university. Heavy rain right now. Strong storm moving through. Probably some gusty winds, but you can see the lightning really starting to pick up in Chilton County at the corner of the screen. So this will be tracking to the south. So stay with us here. If you're in Chilton County, we'll give you that first alert as these storms move south. We do right now have some heavy rain, non-severe storms that are pushing south through Shelby County. It's a first alert weather day starting to wind down for these states to the north. We have some areas that have been hard hit in our coverage area, especially North Alabama, but right now most of the damage reports that we're seeing East Alabama, the Anniston area. That's where we've had a lot of trees down around Calhoun County, and we're assessing some of that damage, but some indications here around Shelby County with these winds picking up. The National Weather Service noting we're getting some gust in here of up to 50 miles per hour. Tropical storm force is 39 miles per hour, and when you have a severe storm, those winds are up to 58 miles per hour, and even a lot of times when we have severe storms, we don't see winds reach those levels, even though the data tells us, hey, this is a storm that could be severe. We got quarter-size hail. Sometimes you may not see those kind of winds, but it only takes 30, 40 mile per hour winds. When you have the ground this wet, this saturated, with 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts catch a tree the wrong way, it'll topple it, and that's still a possibility even with these storms that's non-severe out there. So could be some random outages as these storms move south until we get this out of here. That's going to be a concern with these storms moving through Shelby County. But we'll stay here. I just want to stay here a few moments. I don't want to have to turn right around and jump back on because we're in a watch, and these storms earlier, they looked just like this, the ones that were in East Alabama, and then all of a sudden they started to rotate. It's just one of those nights that the parameters are there. These storms, if things line up right, they might try to produce a tornado. So I want to just watch this closely as this moves through and just stay with you here since it's so late at night. And for areas north of Birmingham, points north, severe threat over. Tuscaloosa, severe threat over. This is now, Matt, I think we can sound we're looking pretty good in Centerville right now. It looks like this is mostly, let me go back to radar. Let's get back over to radar so you can see this. This is mostly from Childersburg, Wilsonville, Columbiana, back to Wilton, Centerville. I think we're in good shape. This is the final line. It's now through West Blockton, even though we're still detecting some lightning. The most intense storm now is right over Shelby County Airport, pushing to the south towards Calera, Columbiana, crossing around Highway 25, Wilsonville, and Childersburg. And it's south of Harpersville, threat over. Chelsea, Hoover, threat over. McCalla, threat over for you. This is all to the south of you. This is now moving down towards Coosa, Chilton counties. And at the moment, non-severe storm. Matt, what are we seeing right in this area?
Yeah, I've been watching.
Yeah.
You know, you got to watch that area, and also I'm also looking near the Montevallo area as well, just to the south, because sometimes you see those inflow notches, and it makes you wonder. You see the lightning increasing a little bit as well, up to about 100 lightning strikes in this particular frame. We'll put on the velocity. Not really seeing much, so that's good news. Not to say it can't change from here, but right now we're just looking at a good soaking thunderstorm with the potential for some gusty winds up to maybe 30, 40, up to 50 miles per hour. I'm not really seeing any indication of 50, but definitely going to be seeing some gusty winds, especially ahead of that line. So as this thing's moving off to the east, Sylacauga towards Talladega Springs, likely going to be seeing some of those gusty winds make their way in your area as it's pushing off towards the east-southeast, probably right around 30 to 40 miles per hour. But nothing warned right now, but definitely some heavy rainfall and some lightning in around parts of Montevallo and, of course, up into Columbiana and Wilsonville. Wes?
All right. And this is some of the scenes coming in now, Matt, from the Anniston area. This is from Rodney Frazier, and I mentioned Rodney was sending some of those reports that were in from, let me see here, this was in Halls Chapel Road. So this is one of those, we were talking about the Halls Chapel Road area, one of those large trees down, but you can see the officers out there blocking the roadway, and there's going to be a lot of cleanup going on out there tonight. A lot of downed trees that we've been seeing around the state from west to east Alabama over the past few days, and we've got a lot of leaves on the trees. Obviously, they're loaded, and then you've got the wet ground, so it just doesn't take much. And for folks that may be listening in on the radio, just know that the tornado threat has passed now. Even though you're probably hearing some loud rain, some rumbles of thunder here in the Anniston area, there's still going to be some rain, some rumbles, but right now the greatest severe weather risk is now shifting to the south of Calhoun County. So we got to watch it. Talladega County at the moment, over to Shelby and into Chilton and Coosa counties. We're seeing this now crossing over into the southeastern part of our coverage area. Storms are not severe at the moment, but we're in an environment where these storms could suddenly start to show some signs of rotation. So far, what we're seeing, these storms are behaving. Hopefully, they will continue to do so. There's Highway 31. There's Calera, Manuka Park area is along the leading edge. This is south of Calera. This is south. The University of Montevallo is getting some heavy rain at the moment, but this is all staying below severe levels at this time. And look, this is right over the radar site. So we've got the best view of these storms. So you can see there's really, if we had some hail that was falling with this, Matt, we'd probably easily see some purples with this, and that's a good sign at the moment as well. But this is it. I mean, this is all lining up, and looks like we might be seeing around Sylacauga, Matt. Let's click on that. Looks like maybe this thing may be trying a surge of strong winds now just crossed around Wilsonville. You can see right in there we got some gusty winds. You might want to pixel query that. Might give us an indication there when you go over that velocity data on some of the winds. BTI around a 2.3 on a scale of 0 to 10. That's the lower end of the scale. Hopefully it stays there. Let's watch and see if that number jumps up. There are a few lightning strikes. Well, there's about 44 strikes here on the map, but storms moving your way. You're going to have some loud rumbles. It's over Childersburg right now. Now, this is not producing the kind of golf ball size hail like what we saw Sunday morning here in Childersburg, but we got some more heavy rain. There may be some gusty winds and hailstones, but here it is. It's crossed the river. It's now crossing around Childersburg and moving towards Pleasant Hill, 5 Points, Sylacauga. You can see the Quarry and Oak Grove here at the bottom of the screen. Matt's putting some first alert times on this. Homestead around 12:34 in the morning. Looks like Grove Park around 12:45 in the morning, moving east at 33 miles per hour. So we have a risk here for some strong damaging, some strong wind gusts that still could be damaging, although it is a non-severe storm. There's still some indications here based on the way this is sort of bowing out, and this is showing us a signature of a strong storm, and some of those stronger winds is going to track right here north of 5 Points between Pleasant Hill and 5 Points, and that's going to cross Highway 231. Harpersville, this is south of you. Severe threat is over for us. Severe threat, again, most of Shelby County. This is Columbiana back to Childersburg and points south where we're really seeing that threat. But this looks, Matt, like this might end up being the last of it here. We might as well stay with this as we continue to track this to the south.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that we're going to be seeing right now is whatever's pushing through Shelby County into southern portions of Talladega County. I'm going to go right back up to look at parts of Anniston, Jacksonville. I know we've been hit hard already by that one storm, and now we have more rain moving through. I'm just going to look at the velocity and just kind of look at it a little bit. There could be a little bit of broad rotation there just south of Oxford, south of I-20. But nothing that screams major issues or anything like that. Just some pretty heavy, intense rainfall and some gusty winds. So we're just going to continue to watch these storms as they push off to the east. I'm going to show you that tornado watch again. Let me just punch this up for you, and you can see the areas that are still under the watch and areas that are no longer included. So I'm about to name the counties that are free from the tornado watch. You're good to go. So you're looking good if you're Marion, Winston, Coleman, Blount, Etowah, Lamar, Fayette, Walker, Jefferson, and Pickens and Tuscaloosa counties. You're no longer under that tornado watch. So you're good to go. Go to bed. Rest easy. But the areas still under the watch include Sumter, Green, Hale, Bibb into Shelby County, as well as St. Clair, Talladega, Calhoun, into Cherokee, Cleburne, and Clay counties. Those are still under that tornado watch until 2 o'clock this morning. They extended that watch for another hour or so. So not saying we're going to see more tornadoes, but the conditions are still there, and we still have to watch those storms just in case they spin up. That's exactly what happened in St. Clair County. We had our show finish up around 10:35-ish, 11, and we were off air for a little bit, and then we came right back on because that storm just easily was able to spin up and rotate and produce a tornado, or they were able to issue that tornado warning. So that's what we have to watch out for. That's why we're here on your side watching these storms all the time, just to make sure there's nothing that's going to be out there that causes any issues. But like I said, looking pretty good. I would say if you're in Chelsea, Helena, Alabaster, you're looking pretty good. The wet weather's off to your south, and it's going to stay to your south. So looking pretty good right along 280 from Homewood, Birmingham, all the way down towards Chelsea. Childersburg, Wilsonville, Columbiana, Sylacauga, first alert. You're still going to get some of that rain and some gusty winds as it's pushing off towards the south and east. Just looking elsewhere, if you look at the overall map, I'm going to show you the national radar. The threat for severe weather is definitely diminishing. We had a lot of warnings in Georgia, tons of warnings in Tennessee, and now we're just seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Alabama, Georgia, and up into the Carolinas. So the numbers are decreasing, the lightning's been decreasing, and the coverage of storms are decreasing. So I'm feeling pretty good with the setup of what we've got, but we're still watching some of the cameras. I know it looks like, Wes, you were working behind trying to see some of the views out there and tracking those storms. But
yeah, I'm trying to pull up, you know, we got an eye in the sky on that storm that's about to move into Oak Grove. So,
right.
you know, we can just kind of gauge, we can look at see what the lightning frequency is like, and it tells us a little bit about the storm. Before we send you back to programming, we just want to take a close look at this. We want to make sure everybody, you know, this is a unique event, not just in the fact, you know, we're dealing with a lot of tornadoes here. This can happen in the month of May, but you know, with the outages that we have with respect to weather radio, we're just making sure we want to stay on top of this with any sort of threat out there to make sure that you get that first alert. So I want to zoom in, and this is that you see in the corner of the screen. That is Oak Grove. This is in Sylacauga, just north of Sylacauga, and I'm moving the camera. You see the lightning starting to pick up. We got some heavy rain moving in. Actually, I want to take this, there you go. Let's take this full screen, and this is what's starting to move in right now at Oak Grove. You can see the City Hall there at the bottom of the screen, and I'll pan this around, and we're looking to the south in this direction. So the storm's actually coming in from the north. We'll kind of move it on around, and you can see there's some folks there on Highway 280, but you can see, look in the direction of the trees, we'll see those winds, and we'll see, you know, what kind of wind we have with this, as this is about to move in at the moment. But it's 78 degrees there. You can see the wind starting to pick up, and the trees swaying, some folks there on the roads. Again, it's not a tornado warning, not a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're seeing winds gusting over 40 miles per hour. Certainly could be enough to topple trees with the kind of weather that we've had recently, but some intense lightning. And I know it, you know, when we've been talking about this today all day and last night, and it's, you know, 12:39 in the morning. If you've been up with us and waiting to see what's going to happen with this, we want to make sure we can give you the all clear. But this is the main line now, starting to push into the southern part of our area. First Alert Sky Vision, we've got the live view right there from Oak Grove. And watching for our friends here in Sylacauga and Oak Grove. We'll let you know when this passes by, but you're going to hear some loud rumbles as this moves in. There's the quarry, here's Sylacauga, there's 5 Points. This is Talladega Springs, Fayetteville's back in here is Wilsonville. It's moving in the direction, it's crossing, looks like it's crossed Wilsonville, now it's crossing the Coosa River and moving to the south, but you can see if we just keep that camera view up, you can see the winds have picked up, but we're not seeing just total whiteout conditions right now from this storm. So I think really, Matt, I'm just looking at this. I mean, the worst of it, 30, 40 mile per hour winds. I mean, you can see that's ground truth right there. I mean, we're watching what's happening. That's why, you know, having these cameras is such a valuable tool. We can actually see what's going on with this, but definitely. A night with the thunder, the loud rain, the gusty winds. I know it's getting your attention, but thankfully these storms are staying at the moment sub-severe, the ones that are moving down into southern Shelby County at this time. So again, that is a live look. We'll see if we can pan around just a little bit further, but yeah, rain starting to pick up there. Again, you're looking back at Highway 280. This is in southern Talladega County. And this is that line of storms, the last of it, pretty much, where we're seeing the last more intense storms that we're seeing at this time. And this is moving into, I mentioned Oak Grove and Sylacauga. That camera that we have right there, that is on a church right there past the City Hall there at Oak Grove. I'm just checking out some reports coming in, make sure we're not missing anything. But that's right there, not far from Sylacauga First Assembly. So we're looking pretty good here, Matt. I think what we'll do is, you know, we got the crawl up, and you know, we'll watch. We'll be here in the Weather Center if we see any indications that this might go to a warning. I just don't see anything. And you can jump in here. I mean, there's that one around Calera. I don't really see any sharp rotation with that. I mean, it looks like it may be trying to, maybe a little bit of an inflow notch with that there, but I don't think it's trying to do, what we saw earlier with that storm. Hopefully it will stay below severe levels.
Yeah, I've been watching it. It hasn't really changed much over the past 20 minutes or so. So this just looks like your typical thunderstorms with some rain, wind, and lightning. So no warning, everything's below severe limits. So we're looking pretty good. Of course, we're going to still be here watching it just in case. And of course, if there is a random warning, we will let you know. You'll get that information through your WBRC First Alert weather app. But right now, just looking at that heavy rain, it's going to be making its way right along 231 towards Sylacauga. You're going to be getting some heavy rain very soon. And if it holds together, which it likely will, we'll likely see some of that rain make its way into parts of Clay County. But yeah, Wes, I'm liking what we're seeing. We're just watching that one little batch, and the latest model runs were showing that right there and not showing a lot of it or intensification of it. So that's some good news. Lightning hasn't increased any either over the past 30 minutes. So it's all signs that it's just kind of doing what it's doing, and hopefully that's what it's going to keep doing, which is just stay below severe limits.
All right, so what we'll do is we're going to sign off, and we'll continue to monitor this. I mean, this line of storms is staying below severe levels, but we're getting some gusty winds. If you're in Lineville, Millerville, Sylacauga, we're here. We're going to watch it for you. If you're in Clanton, if you're in Coosa County, it looks like they're not going to issue a tornado watch or expand the tornado watch. It looks like these storms at the moment, they're staying below severe levels. So hopefully, things are sort of winding down, but you're going to hear some loud rumbles, some heavy rain, and some gusty winds as this moves through. Birmingham, Alabaster North, Gardendale, Tuscaloosa, Fayette, severe threat over. Utah, Centerville, looks like threat's over, but we'll continue to track some rain and rumbles here, Clanton, Alexander City, but this is it. It's going to push south through Clay County, and we'll, of course, evaluate, look back at where we had some of that damage in Calhoun County. We'll have all that information, of course, posted on our news app, and we'll be sharing that with you on Good Day Alabama. But Matt and I, we're going to sign off right now. Certainly thank you for staying weather alert, and we'll be right here for you watching until all this clears out. So we're not leaving you here in Coosa County and Clay County. We're going to be here watching it until we get all this out of here. And we'll be posting a lot of updates and letting you know once the threat has ended. Hopefully we're able to cancel that tornado watch here at 1 o'clock. That's when it is set to expire. But just stay with make sure you have the First Alert weather app close by. If you're to the far southeast right now, the only remaining threat right here, southeast areas, these southeast counties. And that's it. And we're going to get through this event and some nice improvements over the next few days. Mickey's here, Megan bright and early if you don't see us again, but we'll be posting again lots of updates online. Okay.
Nothing different. It's just they're going to be canceling that tornado watch for Sumter, Greene, Hill, Bibb, St. Clair, and Cherokee counties.
Okay, so there you go. So even more counties trimmed away from that watch. So
yes.
Matt, some good news there for us as well. So I feel even better about going back to programming right now. So we're going to do that. We're going to send it back to programming, and we'll continue to monitor the radar. But certainly looks like this First Alert weather day coming to a close. We'll keep a watch on these southeastern areas again. Matt, great having you with me here tonight and tracking the storms across the area. Great job to the team, and great job to you staying weather alert out there and staying with us with all those reports. Really helpful on a night like this. But we're going to sign off for right now. We're watching it for you. Again, don't forget, Good Day Alabama kicks off at 4 o'clock in the morning. Continuing updates on the First Alert weather app.
This has been a First Alert weather update from the First Alert Weather Team.